Welcome to Morning Brew for Marketing Executives, the podcast where senior B2B marketing leaders from globally recognized brands in complex industries share their stories and experiences. Here we dive into the world of marketing leadership and hear more about what it's like to be a marketing leader. In today's episode, we're joined by a seasoned marketing leader with nearly 20 years of experience in Sandvik, a global stock-listed engineering company. As Vice President and Head of Marketing and Communications and member of the Business Area Segment Management Team at Sandvik Manufacturing Solutions, she leads a global team with 12 employees. In this conversation, she shares insights on one of her favorite topics, setting and following up on goals and targets. You'll also hear about the organization's Innovative Ambassador Program, which engages experts from across the company to bring valuable insights into marketing. This episode is hosted by Yanni Hovila, the Managing Director of Maven First, who has over a decade of experience working with marketing professionals in a complex sales environment. Let's get started.
Hello, Sandra. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm so excited about today's episode, and thanks for being on the show. And if we start off by a couple warm-up questions, it's always interesting to hear your story, your journey. So you're currently working as a VP in Sandvik, VP of Marketing, of course. So what's your journey and how did you end up working in Sandvik? I know you have a long career already in Sandvik, but tell me a little bit about you and your journey.
Yeah, sure. So I'm born and raised in Sandviken in Sweden, where Sandvik was originally started about 160 years ago. And I went to university to study digital media design in Örebro, a different city in Sweden. And then after traveling and finalizing my studies, then I decided to apply for a position in Sandvik, but in the investor relations function, actually. I was the second runner-up for that, so I did not get that job. And then I was called back from HR for a different position, which was about our intranet in Sandvik. And they wanted to kind of repackage all the HR information on the intranet. So that was my first job. I got that job in Sandvik Group, the head office, supporting HR with internal communications. So I did that for 3 years, and then I got the opportunity to move into one of our business areas at that time, Sandvik Materials Technology, which is now Aleima, the stock-listed company. So I was in Sandvik Materials Technology for 5 years in different divisions and also the business area level. And then working with both a little bit marketing, but mainly corporate communication and internal communications. And then after that, I was asked if I wanted to come to Sandvik Corporate, which is one of the big divisions in Sandvik, heading up corporate communication and brand. So I had a team there that grew over the years, and also the areas of responsibilities developed during those years. I was there for 6 years. And then soon, 3 years ago, I got the opportunity to join Sandvik Manufacturing Solutions, which is a different business area in Sandvik, where we have different software offerings within manufacturing. So I joined this part of Sandvik, and then I'm building up this marketing and communication function in this business area, and we have a very exciting growth journey ahead as well.
So would
so
it
all
be...
in all, I've been here 17 years.
Yeah, I was
now.
calculating a little bit like that's a long. So you were born in Sandviken, the city,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you were raised by Sandvik, the company.
That you can
could
say.
that.
Everything I know, I've learned here at Sandvik.
Yeah. So it's always fascinating to hear this. I think it's not, of course, for the industrial companies, but that's kind of typical in a sense. You see very long careers, like 40 years or something, 40 years anniversary, and it's mind blowing. But
there's so much to learn in a big company like Sandvik and other similar companies. There are so many different parts of the organization, different products. It's such a big company. So I've felt always that there is more to learn and more things to explore within Sandvik.
Yeah.
More, the areas of responsibilities differ slightly between the different positions, and you can learn a lot. So I think
definitely
it's a great company.
Yeah, it needs to be to keep you for almost 20 years, and definitely. And what I pick from that is you kind of had the opportunity to explore different units, different offerings, different working types, maybe even during that. So it's kind of still something new. Even the logo on the paycheck is the same. So it's great to hear.
Exactly.
But what keeps you motivated after all these years? You kind of already almost answered that. That it's always something new. But anything else you would like to? Cover?
No, but for me, what really drives me is to learn new things and to feel that I can continue to develop. There are new things that will keep building my competence and my experience. So when there is something that I feel here is something new that I can learn in this position, that motivates me. And I'm also motivated by trying new things, looking at others, what others are doing, and then thinking, can we do that a little bit differently? Is there a position that we can take that is not taken by anyone else? And try new things. So that I think learnings and
definitely, and the career path shows that you starting from the intranet side and now in your current position. But on your current position, we are now recording this in mid-December, just for the listeners. So what we see typically is that it's always the hurry season, so to speak. You need to plan already the next year, and then you need to kind of make sure and analyze things that what we have got today, or need to maybe to-do list and have things done this year, as well as setting the goals. So are you already excited about the next year, or still doing the firefighting and to-dos for this year, or where are you at the moment?
It's like you say, it's now mid-December, so wrapping up 2024. So this week in particular, I have a lot of performance dialogues. Both I had the one yesterday with my manager, our president, and then tomorrow and the day after I will have with some team members in my team to, look back on 2024. What were the targets that we set? What have we achieved? And it's an opportunity to reflect as well and see what we accomplished. So that I think is always exciting to see what did we do and how did it go? And then also looking into next year, I had a discussion yesterday with my manager discussing, looking at our company or business area strategy for Sandvik Manufacturing Solutions, what will be the main parts for marketing and communications. And that, looking into or looking ahead for next year and thinking quite exciting things that we will work on. And there are some new areas. So that inspires me as well too.
Is there anything you can share about maybe not on the company targets or priorities, but more in sense like what are you most expecting from the 2025 year? Is there a new avenues of marketing you are shifting or starting some new initiatives or anything like that you could share that excites you?
I mean, in my business area segment within Sandvik, we consist of a number of different acquired companies, more or less standalone businesses with individual brands, and all have a separate marketing department to run their business. So one thing that I'm quite excited about is how can we progress even further together and learn from each other? How do we take marketing in our business area to the next level? What is, modern marketing, or what is that I'm excited to discuss with them and see where are we today and what are our ambitions going forward. Anything from, using modern platforms and tools to, the way that we interact with the organization and make sure that we deliver value to the business as well.
That sounds like a lot to handle. And I need to ask this because we always hear that when you have teams coming from different cultures, company cultures, sense that they work in different regions, and maybe the way we do marketing in more granular level is a little bit different in the Pacific Asia or even South Europe or here in the Nordics or Americas as an example. And of course, you're working at the global scale. So how can you even attack that kind of challenge that we need to learn and bring this together, these different company cultures, maybe the cultural heritage and way of working are so different. So
Yeah, it is very different. And also the perspective of being in the past an individual, maybe family owned company, and now you're part of a big stock listed company.
yeah,
I think, though, that is the beauty of our organization, that we have strong brands, individual brands that do great things, where we have now suddenly, with everyone being part of the same group, we have an opportunity to learn from each other. So suddenly these marketing teams that used to be on their own now have colleagues in other brands that they can bounce ideas, learn from each other, share best practice. And there's a really strong desire to collaborate within our business area. So there is really a push for people want to be part and want to collaborate and discuss things together and get to know each other.
Yeah.
So it's really not, oh, you acquired us and leave us alone. That is not at all the sense. So it's I see this as a great asset. Also from these companies come from a software background. I come from a metal cutting background, and I've also worked in materials. That is a different type of environment than what they come from. So it's also a really nice opportunity to learn from each other, and having this diverse team and backgrounds that we all bring, if we put it all together, I think it will become really great. But still, we are a decentralized organization, but there are still, smart collaboration that we can do.
And of course, that makes it so much easier as an executive. If you have that push, you don't need to kind of building all the change management and motivation and trying that. So it's in that way, it at least a little bit easier, and you just need to kind of enable that collaboration and not need to push or sell why we need to collaborate. So it makes
and it's a journey as well, and a balance. Everyone has their own area of responsibility and their own daily business, so you cannot kind of do too much together either, because then you will feel drowned. So it's a balance as well. How much do we collaborate and how much do we focus on our own?
Yes, the collaboration part can't be your full-time job. Then you don't do any marketing.
Exactly.
Definitely. You mentioned you have some performance reviews now. I will not ask how it went, but you have that and some of your team. And I think this is one of the greatest topics for every time I discuss it with any senior marketing executive, like how we set goals and the kind of goal setting as a tool to get your team to row on the same direction and on the same rhythm as well. So can you just from that point now, this year's goal or last year's 24 years goal are in your mind, and now the performance review. So can you tell me a little bit about the process, how you set goals, targets, how you follow up those, how you make sure those are like attainable, or how you make your team rowing in the same direction and in the same rhythm?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, this is one of my favorite topics. So I'm very happy that you asked about this question. I think a good starting point for me is to really understand the overall strategy. And in my part, as part of the management team for our business area, I'm part of creating the strategy as well. So I'm very engaged in that process. And that really helps as well, both to be able to contribute from my perspective, but also to know what is important and where are we heading. So then what we usually do in my team is take that, the company objectives, and then we have a team workshop. Of course, I have some thoughts before that, and I've aligned the expectations with my manager as well. And then we start off with kind of a team workshop where we go through the strategy and then reflect from our perspective, what are the most important parts to contribute with, where can we make a difference and support this strategy. So then we define what are the biggest areas and where are we today? What are the problem statements? So try to define and explain that what are the problems that we see that we want to kind of solve. And then setting both objectives for quite long term, like 2030 maybe, to really stretch your mind for those areas. So where do we want to be in 2030? And then make it a little bit more tangible for, okay, next year, then 2025, what does it mean short term? And what are the key results that we want to achieve? What are the KPIs? How will we measure that we are on track as well?
Yeah.
And then defining, so what are the most important initiatives that we need to drive as a team then to make this move? And then from that, when we have the team targets set, then we break that down into the individual objectives for each individual. So it's all connected from the overall strategy to each individual. And then we have these individual discussions. And
So let's say I come work as a team member for your team. And in the end of this process, I come up with my objectives and how they are related to other people's objectives and how they are related to the overall marketing objectives. And also I have like direct numbers, what you are expecting from me. Am I right? Or kind of outcomes, or that it's some way to measure my success as your team member.
Exactly. And sometimes it's easier to have like hard numbers. We will achieve this KPI, and sometimes it's more, this will be implemented, we evaluate, follow up, was it successful? So sometimes it's a little bit more soft, maybe. Follow up.
Because I think that's very, if we look all the data working in marketing and definitely in B2B, one of the kind of hard thing is that you're kind of running, but the running never ends. There's no kind of feeling of accomplishment or feedback. It's always just like, this campaign was great, but with the like direct feedback that we achieved what we wanted to achieve. So it's very interesting that you have bring that to individual level as well as a team level. Going to the process, you have the workshop together to come up with the ideas. You have the strategy in place. You have some company objectives. Do you feel that you need to support everything in a company? Like my question comes from like, if everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. So how you feel, can you just say that we have these objectives in a company level, but our approach for marketing is to support just these, and we will leave these out? Or do you feel the urge to support every objective in some way?
No, to me it's quite clear what parts. So if we have objectives to grow in certain markets, that is relevant for us. Then there might be some more technology or innovation areas where our part will be to communicate these innovations later on when they are, and internally to share progress, but it will not maybe be us who will make the difference there. It's more from a technology perspective. So I think different parts relate more. I would say not everything will be part of my objectives, but the most important areas where we can also contribute from a marketing and communication perspective.
And digging a little bit deeper, because I think that's always, now we are in the yearly planning season, and all the battles in the marketing executives' minds, like what is our approach for the next year, as well as how we resource things, how we allocate resources, different objectives. All right, let's continue the target setting process. Now we have come up with your approach, like what objectives we support, and we have the team session. Who is in charge of actually proposing the goals or KPIs or objectives? Do they come from the team, and follow up? Who has the saying? Like, is that kind that they propose and you make sure they are aligned and you give it the green light? Or is that something like you give a guideline and then the team come up with their own targets in a sense? So can you give a little bit of that?
Well, I'm very fortunate to have very experienced and smart people in my team. So I take the opportunity to invite them and we discuss it together like a workshop, brainstorm about the different areas and how would we then measure that. And then if we don't finalize everything in that one meeting, then it might be one person who is the owner for one area and then we'll work out, or two persons together work out a suggestion for this is how I see that we should measure it, and this would be the target and so on. And then we can discuss again. And then what we do as well, once we have that defined, we also have a shared place where we work with those OKRs. So we're using Office 365. So we are in my team using Viva Goals, where we have those OKRs, the KPIs, where it's transparent for everyone. And then we go through that on a regular basis to update progress, check how are we doing, any adjustments we need to make. And then it's also clear who is the owner of each initiative that we're driving and so on.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. So it's kind of, in a sense, we come up or agree those together with the team proposing and we kind of come up with in an agreement, very diskutera.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a Swedish, consensus, and I want people to be included. And I also think that is also like a leadership philosophy. I think that is how you achieve the best results as well, that you bring in the input from everyone and you get more diversity if you hear more voices as well.
Definitely, that's easy to agree on. One last on the goal setting, I think the past couple of years we have so big changes. Of course, the COVID a couple of years ago, then the war in Ukraine and so much going on. So I haven't seen many teams that could set the goal in the end of the year and then just ride along. So what's the process of changing goals? Let's say I'm in charge of one of the initiatives and something happens and I need to change that. Do I need to make it kind of formal, or can I just kind of change the scope on the initiative if something happens? How you tackle that?
Yeah, I think that's an important part, to stay a little bit agile as well and not too rigid. We set this and then we look back 12 months later, how did it go? And then we saw that, we became off track. So we have continuous, the objectives that we have are the most important priorities for us as well. So that is what we work on. And we have more frequent team meetings where we can also adjust. And if something else that we did not know of in the beginning of the year comes up, something happens, then we adjust. And then we take a conscious decision as well. So this area that we thought was important, this new area is more important right now. So then let's not prioritize the other area, put that on hold for a while and then make room for this other area. And then you can, if you have like an OKR platform, then it's very easy as well to make those adjustments, and it's still transparent to everyone. What are we working on? And
kind of new prioritization based on the new information.
Exactly.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. And I pick one thing that it's also what's the right word? I know it's diskutera in a sense, but there's a saying that goes with that. But it's kind of set in a discussive way, kind of getting all people's minds. So maybe that's the philosophy to drive a successful marketing team in Sandvik. It's the diskutera.
Yeah, or not maybe diskutera too long and too much. We need some action and get things done as well. But it's a good calibration in the beginning. And then,
that's good. When we are on the topic of goal setting, one thing is, of course, always the insight, like how we get the insight in place. And I know that you have very interesting way of getting that insight, not just from marketing team and from our data set, but or marketing data set, but bringing whole organization together. So can you share how you get sure that you get the latest and best insight to fuel your approach?
Yeah, when I started in this position, the task was to define everything more or less from scratch. So I came to a white piece of paper and then needed to kind of paint what do we need and what are we here to achieve? What is the strategy for marketing and communication? So I asked a lot in the organization, these marketing colleagues that we have in the business units, other key stakeholders, and kind of gathered input to create my game plan. And then also in the team that eventually came into place, we had a lot of discussions and also benchmarking with different companies and what are our industry peers doing and how do we want to differentiate and so on. So from that, we started to kind of draft our marketing and communication strategy. But the team that I had from the beginning, we were all based in Sweden, in the head office for our business area. And I think it's really key when you work in any role in marketing and communication that you are close to the organization, close to the customer, and really understand what is needed. And our majority of the customers are not sitting in Stockholm, Sweden. They are sitting in other markets, and our organization as well. We have a very small organization in Sweden in my business area. Then I wanted to bring in more minds. How can more people help us craft this strategy? And also help us to, because we had a desire from the beginning to think new, try new things, do things a little bit differently. So we had our draft, and then we invited, it started with in our head office in Sweden, we invited the colleagues in that building for a co-creation sessions. We had like whiteboards all over, and then we had different topics where we wanted their input, anything from who's the target group, what type of channels should we have, because we did not have anything from the beginning, to types of messages, basically everything. And then we got a lot of good input, and we wanted to expand that even more. So we created this ambassador program where one part is to help us co-create our marketing and communication strategy. And then another part is a social media advocacy program. So these ambassadors are also helping to, spread our messages and be good ambassadors for our content. But for the co-creation part, we have around 60 ambassadors in this program who signed up voluntarily. It's not mandatory. Anyone can be part. There is no requirement to work in marketing or communication. So it can be anyone, technical person or salesperson or whoever. And then we've had regular, I think, maybe monthly online sessions. Some have focused on the social media part and giving them tips and tricks and how to build your personal brand and things like that. But then some parts have been these co-creation sessions where we have brought up a topic. First, it was about our draft strategy, get their input, and then it has been certain parts of it. We're also responsible for internal communication, so we've also used those types of topics to get their input. So it can be anything from testing a training material. Then we walk through that, have some breakouts, get their input, give them some tasks to give feedback on the material. And we've gotten very good feedback and very valuable. So that is a great asset for us to have, and also a sounding board to test new ideas. We've also asked them for ideas on social media campaigns, topics. So they have also helped us to brainstorm. We've been able to test different functionalities. Like last week, we had an internal broadcast to share our strategy for the future. And when doing that, we wanted to launch a new internal community on Viva Engage. So then we could use this ambassador community to first test, do you have access? What does it look like for you? And also help them to be engaged during the broadcast as well and contribute. So, and I think feedback that we get is also that they find it valuable to be part of a larger network. They get also to interact with other colleagues from other brands in the organization. So that has also been one of the benefits that you get from being part of this program.
I have bunch of questions to our listeners because first of all, let's start with I'm not sure if it's the hardest part or if it was the hardest part for you, but what I come across that the ambassador program, and did you say 60
Yeah,
person.
60. Yeah.
So how
And
did
we
you?
are a quite small business area within Sandvik, so 60 is a good number for us.
That, but still 60. It's a lot, because I know organizations that can't get the first 10 to actually support the ambassador or social sales or thought leadership program. So I have to now ask, how did you manage to do that? Did you find people that have the internal drive to be part of that program, or did you put in all your salesmanship in place and sold the program to them, or what did you do, Sandra?
No, we just invited the people. We shared a slot, or we shared this in we have quarterly webinars
Yep.
internally for all employees. So we included this topic in one of them and explained what are the benefits for you, what is expected of you. It's totally voluntary. So you can also, if there's a topic that you're not interested in, then you don't join that meeting. So not every 60 joins each topic, but a good 20 at least is there. And it's different people as well for the different sessions.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than 20, I don't know. But no, so we've been, I don't know, lucky that people signed up. And I think also just ask. I think that you will be surprised how many are actually interested and want to support you. If you kind of reach out and ask for help and support, there are many people that have both opinion, good ideas, even though they are working in different functions.
Yeah.
So I think there are many in a company that are interested and want to. I mean, it's no high workload for them either. So there's no expectation rather than give your opinions.
Yeah. So you're kind of building from a road that it's almost like the Kate theory, in a sense that now just join us, give you opinions, and then you're building from there, and suddenly you see that they are kind of social media, LinkedIn advocates, building that. So maybe that's something to our listeners to try out, because I know it's kind of the honeymoon phase. When everything is new, you get the involvement. Of course, I'm now exaggerating a little bit, but then after the honeymoon phase, it kind of slowly goes to the day-to-day, and then, of course, some thrive and some not. But,
and that we could see as well. We've now had this program this is our second year, I think, and it started with high engagement. I think what is key is to structure the program so that there are dates scheduled for these short meetings. We have 30 minutes, and then share those topics in advance. We also have a team site where we can throw out questions in between. But then we had a 1-year time frame for the first program, and then we ended that program and thanked everyone, had some celebrations and so on, and then we started the next program. So then you had to apply again if you wanted to be part of, so that we would not get 100 people but only 15 are active, and then some signed up but never participated in everything. So we want to have people who contribute as well and want to be there. So that was also a way of now you know what this is about. So now we will open up the next program for the next period, and this is the schedule, and this is same expectations we've had from the beginning, these two perspectives, social media and co-creation.
That's also interesting. Maybe that's something like psychological, in a sense, that when you just invite, you would be great fit for our ambassador program, or hey, now it's open, you need to apply, and we then see if you meet the requirements, so to speak. So it's nicely built, I have to say, and 60 sounds like a lot. But do you have one member or multiple members of your team then kind of coach through them if they have any questions? So you have kind of built one role around it, that you are now in charge of the ambassador program.
I have 2 team members in my team who have this joint task. So the one person is responsible for the social media part, and that is her area of responsibility in her daily work as well. And then another person is responsible for the co-creation part. So the social media part, then she offers one-to-one sessions with her to get coaching, which has also been quite popular. Quite many have signed up to those seats to also review your LinkedIn profile and get, hands-on support and tips and tricks from her. So she has planned that part. And then also with advocacy program, the sending out the suggestions and what they can share and things like that. And then the other person has done the co-creation and planned that. Those parts.
Yeah, and I can see now when you share a little bit more about the program. Let's jump in a bit to the co-creation part. I have a bunch of questions on that as well. But on this ambassador or social media part, like you have really invested and kind of showing through investment that this is important for us as a company.
Yeah.
And they really see that support. So it's nicely built. Do you get the participants like from all levels? Because I know that in many B2B complex industries, you kind of want to have those executive engagements and executive ambassadors and CEO or VPs, etc. So do you get the involvement on all levels, or is there like, of course, 60 is so much that, but...
Yeah, well, that's a good question, actually. We have some of our management team members that voluntarily also signed up for this ambassador program. So some are part of that. But then we started as well a separate, we call it a VIP ambassador program, where we targeted, I think we have maybe 5.
Is that public? So if anyone from Sandvik is now here listening to this and they're like, why I'm not on the VIP program?
No, but if we have more volunteers, then you can apply for that as well.
So if you work at Sandvik, just send Sandra a message. I want to be part of the VIP program now. Please continue. Sorry.
No, so we had identified some people that we want to build as thought leaders. So we have some of our management team members, but also others that have roles that are more customer facing or working with the strategic partnership programs, where we want to build them as our spokespersons as well. So for those individuals, they get individual coaching from Mona, our social media manager. So they get coaching from her. She goes through, the performance as well.
Yep.
What did they post? How did their posts perform? Give them, go through the calendar, give them suggestions on what to post, from what type of events that they have in their calendar. So she's more like a coach for them.
Yeah. Just let's say I'm working as a VP in complex B2B industry now, and I'm listening this, and I'm like, this is a great idea. Why I haven't done it? How would you build a business case or kind of investment reason for investment? Because for me, it's of course a time investment. You kind of invest your team's time. From marketing resources standpoint, you also invest time that you get all these 60 people to spend time with this. So I bet someone has asked you, and you don't need to go to the details, but just kind of your thought process. Why is this a good investment?
I mean, first of all, we are a small team, and I think probably many marketing teams feel that they, could do more with more resources and things like that. So this is a way to get, more hands and feet, more brains. For free. It takes time, yes, but it's not a massive investment in time, neither for us nor for them who participate. So it's a very efficient way of getting more brains to participate in your marketing strategy. So you get more new perspective, new input that you did not think about before. You can come with a draft and finalize it together. And I think that diversity of minds, when you invite people to give you input and co-create and you listen to the input, it becomes so much better. So the effect and the preciseness of when you finalize it will be so much better. And then also another, I think, quite important perspective is the engagement that this creates as well. I mean, we have 60 ambassadors that believe in us and support us and cheer us on as well. That's that you should not underestimate either. I think also the proudness to be part of something.
Yeah, and I bet now if you would propose in your management team, like we kill this program, that we don't want to do this anymore, you could definitely get the pushback on that. But I'm just thinking through the lens that if we don't have any of those benefits yet, and I would now propose to my management team as a VP, hey, I need people to come co-create and give feedback and be involved in this ambassador program. And I will use a couple of my team members to facilitate. Of course, they have other things to do as well. Just my thought process, like, would I be able to make a business case, or is it more through seeing is believing and building the proof of concept first? I assume you did something like that, that this wasn't a big 2-year initiative in the before?
No, and this was an idea and we just started. We did not ask anyone for approval or we just ran with it. And then it turned out to be quite valuable. I think also another, just start somewhere. Invite colleagues in the building where you're in, share a draft, get their input from people who you would normally not interact with. Someone else than marketing, communication colleagues. Just talk to people, and does not need to be so complicated and so big.
I like the Discutera aspect of this now when we jump to the co-creation, because I feel the role of marketing is in some companies, when we talk the heavy B2B, it's challenged, and it's almost like our internal brand is still something marketing was 20 years ago in our executives' mind. Of course, now I'm again exaggerating a little bit, but that's very norm when I work with senior executives. And when I listen you and the co-creation part, how you make sure it doesn't end up being kind of wish list, or is there a risk? Do you see the risk involved that it becomes like I invite all these people and it's actually they are making a to-do list for us as a team to do?
Yeah, that I think could be a risk if you make it too broad. What we have done is been very selective and thought through what do we need input on. For example, now this week, I think we will have a co-creation session on the internal platform Viva Engage. So then Mira in my team has thought through, so what are the pain points right now, and specific questions that she wants their input on to help her solve and get new ideas. So I think should not be too broad topic like it, because then you will get different types of opinions on whatever that you cannot consume. So I think really ask questions that you want and that will take you a step forward in your work as well.
So kind of come prepared to the session as well, and making it's more like, hey, or I'm just now making things up, but our message in this target hasn't resonated. Let's think, why is that? And not like, what should we do from your point of view?
No. Exactly. We've done this campaign. Now we're thinking about 2.0 campaign. This is what we've done. This was successful. This we feel So it could be things like that to steer a little bit where you want input and not leave it like, what type of campaign should we do?
What kind of marketing you would like to see?
Think through where you want input, and then that will also be easier to contribute as a participant if it's a little bit more concrete what you want to discuss.
Because otherwise you get the old classic, like, I want more videos, or I want I don't see our ads in anywhere, like you are not part of the target group. I get it. So how many years have you run this? 2 years, am I right?
I think this is our second year. We've just started a few months ago, the second.
Would you be able to share any challenges in this co-creation? Let's leave the ambassador and social media side, but in terms of this co-creation, getting these insights, any challenges you have faced? Like, if I'm now thinking through, like, I need to build something like this, what I need to prepare for?
I don't know if we've faced challenges, but I think some challenges that you could face that I think is important is to select the right topics that you want input on, like what we just discussed. Don't leave it too broad, and so what do you want input on, and narrow what to give input on as well, so that you will get something out of it.
Yeah.
I think another part is not to make it mandatory in any way that you need to participate in X meeting. So it should be optional, and it should be really where people feel passionate to participate as well.
Yeah.
I think one challenge that we did see towards the end of the first program was the participation rate was less in the end of the program than it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
So our solution to that was, let's end it here, and then we start up fresh again. Maybe there are other people who want to participate.
Yeah.
Some will join, and
smaller chunks in a sense, or smaller topics. Yeah.
And then I think one carrot that we've also, small things that we've done is to also, we've had some competitions as well, where we have offered, the prize is a Sandvik giveaway, like a coffee mug or something small. So that we've had a few times as well, and then selected a winner and then sent. That's a small thing that does not cost so much, but create some engagement.
And it's always not surprised, but it's always nice to see kind of the friendly competition in place, and how much you are willing to do to get that certificate that I was part of this ambassador program or something like that. So it's a good tip on that as well. Have you thought about bringing on customers to that co-creation?
No, not really, but I've had those thoughts as well. I think it's important to listen in with customers when you visit customers, to ask these type of questions. Where do you get inspiration? What are your pain points, and so on. But I think we have some key customers that participate in a lighthouse program. Few customers that are closer to us, where we also co-create in our software development together with these customers. So I think those customers could be maybe not to participate in the co-creation sessions, but to have specific sessions with them. I think that could be a 2.0 or 3.0 version of this program. I think that's a great
I was
idea.
thinking like that would make it whole, and kind of the one challenge we as marketeers face is that we are kind of on the second-hand information. We listen from the expert or from the sales that, hey, customers think this way. And I always recommend to build those first-hand information channels if we can. How we talk directly? Can we go to the events? Can we have questionnaires? Can we interview on a regular basis? So that would kind of make it almost a whole in a sense.
That's a great idea, actually. To have used customers who voluntarily could sign up as well. We could test the campaigns or test the different on them. I'm sure that there would be people who would be interested also to get kind of a preview of what is coming and feel part of. I will bring that idea with me.
That's always a great. It's a co-creation model.
Exactly.
Because I know a company. It's totally different industry. They have like this customer board, and they actually invite the customer's marketing team because they know the marketing and they know the customer's business, and then they participate and kind of co-create in a sense.
That's great.
Like if you have a target customer X, how a marketing executive give you how to target them. So it's kind of in a way.
That's
we
nice.
will need to have a follow-up session in 6 months to see how this
talk
goes.
about the customer program.
Definitely. All right. Now I'm listening again, and I already have a bunch of ideas and to-dos, like build this way of setting more Discutera in the target setting, and this social media, how to start up and getting through 60 ambassadors. And now I'm on the co-creation, and I put the note on my to-do list, like this is something I want to build. How would you start if you would start again?
I think it's important to prioritize your own workload and look at your priorities. Ensure that you have clear targets, the direction where you're heading. So I always have that every week in my kind of head to calibrate. Also, I use this: what is urgent, what is important, those two perspectives. Is it urgent but not important? Is it urgent and important? Then it's probably something I should do right away. Is it important but not urgent? And make sure that I have planned it so I have time to do it.
Yeah.
So those perspective I use in kind of every week to calibrate what I have on the to-do list. What should I start with? Make sure that you have a good plan in place so that not everything ends up ad hoc as well. So what I do is look ahead 2 weeks every week to see what is most important coming up. Do I have any deadlines approaching? Also making sure that I note down when I get the deadline so I can see that visibly. Is there anything that I have that I can delegate? Is it anything that I should cancel that is not important?
So you're basically saying that now listening this episode, you get the idea to create this co-creation model. Don't do it yet. First, stop and think through, is that the priority right now?
Yeah, exactly. Will it support my objectives? And this is probably another how to get to, if you feel that you need more insights and more brains, that this could be a good solution, but probably not everyone will need.
Yeah. Is it an Eisenhower matrix?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I have or used it as well, like time to do or time already did, if if it's not urgent. But as a marketing executive, it's like you could always do more. The work never ends, and it's like and working with the team and stakeholders in different time zones. So is that the way you build like for yourself the feeling of accomplishment, that this is what I do and that's it?
Yeah, that I have very clear in my mind every day. I look at what is most important. I have a to-do list, maybe, I don't know, 3-4 things that I need to accomplish. Then also when I plan the week, I need to ensure that I have time, like focus time in my calendar as well. So not back-to-back meeting the full day. Some days that does not work, but as kind of a standard, I try to ensure that I have that. So kind of looking at what do I need to accomplish today? And then when I've done that, then I feel that, I got everything that I needed done today. So it was a good day. Then there are, if you would look at the full to-do list, then you would get overwhelmed and like
Where
the
do
full
I even
year and
start?
everything. No, exactly. But I think zoom in and what is most important here now, and then feel that you accomplished that. And then also there are more days that will come, so there will be more time to finalize more tasks. So
that's and one of my customers shared the philosophy that she want to bring to their team, that we are not doing brain surgery. We are not in a hurry. Firefighters are in a hurry. Police might be in a hurry. Ambulance drivers might be in a hurry. But we, as marketers, we are not in a hurry. So I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what you said, that we have tomorrow is there. Of course, not saying that we can just wait until tomorrow to do things, but going hand in hand with the clear prioritization. But going now, you manage your own department and team. How you help them to solve that as well? Because going back where we started on that, marketing never ends, and on the target setting and goal setting, like how I know this campaign I have worked, or this content piece, or this whatever I've worked is enough. How you kind of tackle that from a team leading standpoint?
I think it all starts with setting clear expectations in the objectives and when is it fulfilled, to know that. And then I think to manage that every week, ensure that you have a good meeting structure where there is opportunities to check in, reflect on priorities. Is there any question mark on what is most important? And you can support with that. Also to share the workload in the team, to know who is busy this week, who has time to support someone else if that would be needed. I think to have that transparency helps as well. So I think try to be clear on expectations, and also I think when things need to be done. I think it's when you get the task easy to think that I need to do this is top priority. but maybe it's not. Maybe it's enough in like 2 weeks or in a month, or to also try to be as clear as possible on that, or ask.
Like even if it's important when it's the time to do it. Going back to the Eisenhower matrix. I need to check that. I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but are you sure it's an Eisenhower matrix?
Yeah, I'm quite
We can
sure
put that on the
like
show
that.
notes after the if you want to use it. It's a very easy tool to use, and I think that's one of the best tools to use to get to the inbox zero as well.
Yes.
So if it's less than 5 minutes, answer right away, delegate, delete, or snooze it when you have the time to answer. So we can share that. How about ad hoc requests? Let's say you are now working on something. I'm now taking role as your colleague from management team, VP of sales on anything, and I come, hey, this is hugely important, Sandra. Now I need this done as fast as possible, because if we are not ready for this X, bad things happen, type of stuff. Do you get those?
Yeah, I get those as well. I think everyone probably does. But I think one basic philosophy that I have is the more you plan, the more room you have for ad hoc tasks as well. So, but if everything is ad hoc, if you don't plan anything, then it will become, firefighting every day. So make sure that the big things are planned, and when there are deadlines, that you have those planned. If there is a big activity coming up, that you have that planned and know that you have time to execute on it as well. Then if today I get an important ad hoc task, then I need to calibrate, okay, what other things did I have planned for today and for this week? Is it more important than that? If this will take more time, I will not be able to complete the other tasks. Then maybe I need to go back to that person who is waiting for that task, or to my manager if I'm not sure how to, handle, if I know that I cannot do everything, because we all have the same amount of time. So I think, reflect on that. What is most important then?
Kind of understand why this request is made, and then also calibrating it from the lenses of your set priorities. Is it actually as important it is made to feel?
And am I the right person to do it as well? Sometimes it could be, a question back to that person. Here is a template, or here is some guidance, and you can do it yourself. So I think that's another part that is important, to know your responsibilities in your role and what you should not do. I think that is also easy for marketing and communication roles to, get all small types of tasks, but to know when to say no as well. And hopefully, in the best of world, have some support for, self-help as
definitely.
well.
Yeah, and bringing the marketing role, that's a topic I'm very passionate about, like how we change and at least have a clear role. Like, this is why we have marketing in our organization. It typically kind of it's not set in a like easily communicated way that this is what we do, because it's a tool for any executive to kind of say, our role is to make sure that this target market knows us. That's our role. We don't do anything else. I'm using just a simple example. Or our role is to make sure we get to the strategy and we support actually every piece of that. So it kind of gives you the sandbox to work on, in a sense. So, and now when you pushed back with the little discutera, I as a VP of sales asking some ad hoc, and then I go to your team member. And I think that's the strongest ad hoc typically comes, that someone with an authority comes with something that's really important. And I'm not saying that it's not important. If they ask, it's typically is important, or they feel it's important. How you manage and kind of enable your team to stay away from the ad hoc. Do you see what I'm getting, where I'm getting?
Yeah, I think one part is to empower people to kind of know your responsibilities and what you are not supposed to do, to also feel that you have the mandate to say no if it's the wrong type of tasks. But also to, if it's a senior salesperson coming, that you still need to evaluate what is the priority in those tasks and evaluate that to other things, because that person does not know the other things that you have on your plate.
Yeah.
And I think if there are questions, then I think everyone should feel that they can always discuss with their manager as well if there are uncertainties. And sometimes there are very important ad hoc tasks that
course,
you just need to. But then I think also when you say yes to something, you need to say no to something else, because the time is constant. You cannot invent more time. So you also need to prioritize something else down.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
And take a conscious decision. And then I would, if there are reoccurring ad hoc tasks coming from a certain person or a certain function, then I would maybe be more proactive. How can we plan this more in advance to have the right amount of time to support you in a good way as well, because we all want to do a good job.
Yeah, we have a saying when we work with the processes that every ad hoc request is actually failed in some process, part of the process. We didn't have the information, they didn't have the information when they needed. They didn't make the request when they first, so it was sitting on someone's desk for 3 weeks, and now we are in a hurry. So, but of course,
I think ad hoc requests are often due to bad planning.
Yeah.
But then it could be also things coming up that you did not know. But quite often, I think it's because someone did not think through what needed to be done and by whom.
Yeah. We are going to this event, or we are needing this proposal, and we don't have any materials on this software piece or this part that's very important to customer.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah, that's good. Like using roles and accountabilities within your team members, that's very clear, so they have the power to say no, and they kind of know what is expected and what's not. Did I get it right?
Yeah, I mean, that is an ideal situation, of course. I think that it's not so easy always, and that you feel that everything is crystal clear. But
that's always definitely got it. But kind of at least that either you can be less ad hoc, but it's hard for marketing to set like you are only doing this because it's marketing is complex and getting more and more complex year by year. All right. We have a couple wrap-up questions that we may all our guests to answer, so let's jump right to those. If you could give any tips to other marketing executives that they could implement right away, what would it be?
That's a good question. I think dare to think new and think outside the box. One easy thing to do is look at what are everyone else doing, what is kind of the red thread in your industry, and what would be the complete opposite. Could we try that to kind of take a different position and do something else new? I think that would be, and also try to have some fun.
Yeah, that's
does not need to be so serious all the time.
We work in B2B marketing, so it's a serious business. Am I right?
Yeah, but it's also a great opportunity to stand out, because a lot is also very similar.
Yeah, definitely. So have fun and go learn and try maybe something that's out of ordinary.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now jump a couple of years back when you were starting your first leadership position or managerial position. What would you give yourself?
I think what I have developed over the years is to be more relaxed. So I would probably say to myself to be more, relax more.
Yeah.
Not, rest, but I think to not feel a need to be on top of all details, that everything needs to be perfect. So be more relaxed, and it will work out. Anyway, sometimes you are the only person who will see kind of the extra 20%.
Yeah.
Quite often 80% is good enough.
Yeah.
So good enough, I think.
That's good. That's great advice. And did you say between the lines that executives fail as well sometimes?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's also a way of learning.
Yeah.
Failing and knowing what will not work,
Yeah.
and not see that as a failure, but as a learning that you can bring with you for next time.
Yeah. All right. That's good tip. That's good tip. And it's always fun to hear from people starting out their career that I want, when they say that I want to be in a managerial position, I want to be in an executive or senior position. And there's so much that they will learn, and you're going to see the excitement, and then you feel like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's many things to take into
Yeah. And
consideration.
also to feel, relaxed. You don't need to know everything as a manager.
Yeah.
You need to have trust in the people, and you need to hire really smart people that can tell you what is right and what you should do.
Yeah.
So also have trust in that. You don't need to have all the answers. You need to ask the questions.
Yeah. So trust your people, and that's good. So you don't need to be the smartest one.
No.
And if you are, that's not probably a good thing even.
No. Then no.
Jumping to the resources side, this is one of my favorite questions when we have one-to-ones, any executive, like if you could now triple your resources in marketing, both budget and people, what would you do, and how would you make that as a good investment as well?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. What would I do? I think one part of the budget I would invest in more innovation, modernize platforms, new way of working, try some new things as well, of course. So invest in new ways of doing marketing and communication, try new things to a even larger extent than today. Then another part, I think I would invest in our brands, lead generation activities, supporting our brands to drive sales as well and more revenue, of course. Invest more in, all sorts of things, search engine, marketing, all sorts of things supporting our brands, I think. And then I think we would also do more of what we do today, more hands, raise the bar, more, brand building campaigns. I think that is always valuable. More customer case studies, more films.
Yeah, kind of taking the investing even more to the long-term effect in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then also I would also invest some of it in AI and tailor make some solutions specific to our needs, more customized. That I would also spend some budget on to make us even more efficient and creative.
That's good. Yeah, and why I love this question is that it's almost where we started. You mentioned that you start the planning by 2-year, 3-year timetable to open your mind. And we still have the feeling, and all the studies that B2B feels, that we are under-resourced. So in an effect, if we feel that we are under-resourced, and you didn't say that, but a generalization, that for me, it means that we need to be able to tell where we would use those extra resources. And that's typically we find that it's harder than from the first outlook to actually think through that. First of all, thanks for being on the show. I think
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we had a great topics. I bet our listeners will find interesting angles and thought processes and tips and tricks. But if they have any questions for you or they want to follow up, what's the best channel or how to reach out to you if they want to ask more detailed questions or get you to speak on their team about something or share ideas?
I think LinkedIn is the easiest way to reach me.
We will add that to the show notes as well. Thank you for being here today. And for our listeners, of course, thank you for listening to today's show. And to the next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Morning Brew for Marketing Executives. We hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed the conversation, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us bring you more stories from marketing leaders. This podcast is produced by Maven First. For more information, please visit mavenfirst.com.